This is Season 7 of the Team Roping Journal's podcast, The Score, the show that started it all in the whole podcasting game in team roping and rodeo. At 3 million downloads and counting, this is where team ropers talk, from our weekly short score episodes to the longer sit-down conversations that we get to have that dive deep into the personalities, producers, and horses that inspire the sport. This is where team ropers get their must-know information. Hey, this is Chelsea Schaefer. Welcome back to The Score. On today's episode, we are going to do what I do once a year and make some phone calls to the guys who are in the top 15 or battling it out for a spot in the top 15 and ask them what horse they think deserves to be the head horse of the year. Today's episode, I talked to Brenten Hall. Actually, I'll take that back. Taylor talks to Brenten Hall. Then I talked to Coleman Proctor, Dustin Egusquiza, Tanner Tomlinson, and Tyler Wade to get their input on what horse deserves to be the head horse of the year. Today's episode is brought to you by Fastback Ropes. We are going to kick today's episode off with Taylor's conversation with Brenten Hall about what horse he thinks should be head horse of the year.
What horses have kind of stood out to you the most this year? Who are your picks, you feel like?
That's it's always been a hard question for me to answer because I don't know if you give that to, for example, just meaningful. Like last year we give it to Joe, which was Clint Summers' horse, and I think that he deserved it, every bit of it. Mm-hmm. That horse went to, I would say, 3/4 to 7/8 of the rodeos that Clint went to. He rode him everywhere.
Yeah.
And so it's hard not to give a horse like that to vote, but at the same time, I don't know if you should vote for. There varies on the opinion of it. Should you vote for the horse that's been out here all year long, and that the guys rode at every single setup, and maybe that should be the horse, probably. Mm-hmm. I guess, because if you can ride him in every single setup, that should be the head horse of the year.
Yeah.
But like for me, obviously he's not going to get any votes, but at this time of the year, the sorrel horse I've been riding has been as good as anything going in the last 2 weeks, which he's only been out here for 2 weeks. So, I mean, I don't feel like you can give him the award. Mm-hmm. But for one that you just pull out of the jackpot scenario and go and you can win Caldwell and Ellensburg on, it's hard not to think of that horse as being up there with the better of the ones at the road right now. Mm-hmm. But like I said, hasn't been on the road. I don't think you can vote for him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's so hard. You know, it used to be easy because you would just say Riley Minor and Bob.
Yeah.
Well, he don't got Bob no more, so you can't say that. And then Cody and Annie, that was easy to say too because they were just a dynamic duo. It was simple to say that. And then it's hard with like if you were going to vote something to Caleb's. Well, Caleb rides so many different horses throughout the year. Yeah. So then you're missing the boat on one single horse. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think who's up in the top right now that's done really good. I think a horse that doesn't get as much credit as he probably deserves is Andrew Ward's horse.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good horse, that Biscuit horse, for pretty much every scenario, honestly. Mm-hmm. Maybe that should be the head horse of the year. I would almost vote for that guy. I think so.
Yeah.
Because he rides him in all the setups throughout the year. He don't ride him everywhere, but then he can ride him in the long starts. He can ride him at Reno, and then he could turn around and ride him and win the average on him at the NFR. Mm-hmm. So that horse has got to be up there with top horses. I'm cheating right now, by the way. I just clicked on the standings just to see
That's not
in my
cheating.
mind.
No, I don't blame you.
Bay. Tanner's been riding that one too.
Spur, yeah.
Tanner's been jumping around from horse to horse a lot, so he's been riding that one. Mm-hmm. You know, outside of that, I think this chestnut horse of Clay Smith's is really good. And then from there, I think you get to a bunch of stuff where you're just bouncing around from guys riding 2 or 3 different horses. That just fits in different scenarios.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it. I guess I don't have a clear cut, but if I had to vote, maybe I'd be crazy, but I think Biscuit's really good.
I don't know. I don't think that's too crazy at all. I mean, like you said, he really does and can ride Biscuit just about anywhere, and he's good on pretty much any setup, I feel like.
Yeah.
What do you feel like?
consistently for 3 or 4 years now, I guess.
Yes, yeah. What are kind of qualities that you think of when you think of Horse of the Year?
I think the one that scores is always sound. Scoring mainly, I would say, though, because it's just so hard to get the barrier out here year-round. And obviously a lot of the setups are the same start, but you might mix in a point out of the end of the gate to a half around the end of the gate. And if you're riding that same horse that whole week, I think it's real easy for horses to start kind of timing the start a little bit, and you just get in a rhythm. And then you can go places where the barrier is different throughout the week. So I think it's really, really important for a horse to want to stand there and score. But scoring and always being honest and running.
Mm-hmm.
From that point on, to me, they need to finish the run good too. But if they have their foot speed up enough through the turn, they can usually finish the run pretty good.
Right.
And I think those are some of the main qualities to me.
Perfect. Well, I know I sprung that on you, so I apologize, but I appreciate you doing that.
I don't mind at all. I wish I don't know, that for me, that's, I guess there's just such a hard answer for a head horse of the year. What do you pick? But I don't mind trying to answer.
Yeah. Well,
I guess I beat around the bush to the point where we may have came up with something.
You sound pretty confident in your answer in Biscuit, so I don't think you're beating around the bush too bad.
Yeah, I like Biscuit.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's Biscuit's right there. I think Biscuit's good. If not, if he don't deserve it, I would say he's top 3 or 4. So
For sure.
And I think we can all agree with that one.
Well, and I know, like you said, like for a while there was no doubt that it would be, Bob and stuff. But I think it's kind of cool that there are so many horses right now that are that good, that they all, like so many of them could be Horse of the Year,
Yeah.
Next up, I am going to check with Coleman Proctor to see who he thinks should be Head Horse of the Year. And what horse deserves to be the Head Horse of the Year? What's your take?
Man, I think without a doubt, Spur, Tyler Wade's great bay horse. He's going to get multiple guys to the NFR this year. You saw what it did for Tomlinson whenever he lost his great sorrel horse to colic surgery. I think he's been outstanding all year. And any horse you can ride the national finals and set the world record on and then turn around and ride at Ellensburg and, he wins. The other day, he wins second Kennewick. I'm just pointing out with a leg, with a 5-second penalty.
Yeah.
As a header who's always trying to find the next great head horse, man, you got to tip your hat.
Yeah, and I feel like T-Wade might have, for years, would have been the guy who nobody would have looked at his head horses because of what he can do with a head rope.
What's funny is how you got to find what works for you, what makes for you, and then how to keep them working for you. One thing I think Spur's done such a great job this year is, he's had 2 reachers be getting on him, and Sucker just backs in there and gives them both chances to win. It doesn't matter where they're at. It doesn't matter what the scenario, what the barrier's like. T-Way can go fast and turn around. Tanner Thompson get on there and have a runner and be able to go knock one down if he had to. And I think that's the qualities of a great horse.
Yeah. Do you think there's any, this is not, I'm not making fun of T-Wade because I love him like the most, like I'm tight with him.
I make fun of him all the time.
Okay, so I'm not asking this question to pick at him, but like what it takes for a horse to work like that with the loops that T-Wade throws that often are deep around the neck. Like what is that horse? What is required of that horse?
He better keep moving forward, I think. And have a tight cinch. T-Wade gets the bottom down better than most healers. You know what I mean? He can get below the shoulders, which is an impressive shot. I'm going to say he does it on purpose. Like when I get a neck, I'm just casting for something legal. You know what I mean? No, and I think that horse has to keep moving forward. I think that's what he's so good at is he keeps moving forward through the turn, and it's always a smooth transition, and then he always opens him up on the first hop. So
perfect.
Yeah. Incredible.
That's what I needed, sir.
That would be him.
I appreciate your help, Coleman. Thank you. All right. Dustin Egusquiza is always good to weigh in on who should be Head Horse of the Year because he is always near the top of the world standings. Here is Dustin Egusquiza. What horse do you think has been the head horse that stood out all year?
Well, I'm going to nominate my horse, so I'm probably going to vote for him. I haven't. Some people might say I haven't rode him enough, I guess, to win it, which is fine. But I feel like he's a great horse, and he hasn't cost me not one time this year.
And we're talking. Are we talking Cajun?
Yeah, Cajun. Every time I have rode him, he's always let me have a chance to win, and I think he's one of the best horses going. So I was just going to put him on there because I think he deserves to at least have a shot. And if he places, that'd be fine. That'd be great. And if not, maybe I'll ride him some more next year and he can win it. But so I'm going to put him on there and I'm going to vote for him. But as far as other people I'd vote for, I think I'd probably have to go T. Wade's horse second, just because he's been taking a lot of runs and he does the same thing every time. Never changes, like he always does the same thing, and you always have a chance to win, seems like.
I'm always interested. Do you think, obviously that horse fits T. Wade so perfectly. And then he's shown that he fits Tanner perfectly too. Is that a horse you feel like you could jump ride?
Yeah, it looks like he's really easy. Which he's not the big flashy head horse either, but I think more than riding him at 100 rodeos, I think it has to do with how many times you've rode the horse and how many times he gave you a chance for money. And I'm pretty sure that horse is pretty close to 100%, if not 100%.
Yeah.
And I know my horse is the same way. So
yeah,
that's what I like to go by. And those are the top two I'll be voting for sure. I haven't put much thought into third.
Yeah.
I know Nelson and Clint have rode their horse a lot this year, and they both looked pretty good. So.
If there was one other horse in the top 15 that you had to get on, if it was going to make or break your season and you needed to get on somebody else's horse, do you have a favorite? Is T. Wade's the favorite, or is there one that you think you would get on and just be able to do you?
Yeah, I guess it would depend on where we were at, I don't really.
Don't split hairs, Dustin. If you had to get on one at Sioux Falls to make the final, or to make the NFR, who would you get on for funsies as part of this conversation?
Yeah, I'd probably have to do T-weights.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, thank you, sir. Today's episode is brought to you by Fastback Ropes. Fastback Ropes is thrilled to unveil its latest innovation in roping technology, the Hombre. After rigorous testing by Fastback endorsees over the past year, the Hombre is set to redefine performance expectations in team roping. A four-strand crafted with a core, the Hombre stands out with its vibrant orange color, ensuring exceptional visibility in any arena. Its smaller diameter and rough exterior are meticulously designed to enhance grip, making it ideal for swift and precise maneuvers around the saddle horn. Available in both head and heel variations, the Hombre head rope spans 31 feet and is offered in extra soft, soft, and medium soft lays. Meanwhile, the 35-foot heel rope options include soft, medium, and hard medium lays. This versatility ensures that every roper can find a Hombre rope to suit their specific needs. Find out more at fastbackropes.com. All right, Tanner Tomlinson has ridden some absolutely great horses, and we are going to check with him to see which horse he thinks deserves the bronze for Horse of the Year. Who's your pick for Horse of the Year?
Yeah. Of course, my pick is T. Wade.
Yeah, why? Tell me about riding that horse.
He's probably the easiest scoring and fastest horse to go into the steer I've ever rode. I'm talking about, he is so simple. He's always free. He never gets tight and fades out, or he's always running to the steer. Like he's just the easiest from the scoring to the steer to the pulling, facing, everything. He's probably the best horse I've ever rode.
That's awesome. I feel like, it's T. Wade said his horse last year, but when I did this podcast, T. Wade said Spur, nobody gives Spur the credit. And I feel like every single person I've talked to this year for this story has at least brought Spur up.
I think he's been a sleeper. Nobody really nobody knew until this year, like, what he was capable of. Like, they've always seen T-Wade ride him, but, like, now he's really kind of shown his deal this year. And I think now he's really an eye-opener. I think he's just kind of underrated. Everybody didn't. He's always been that good, but I just don't think nobody really paid attention until this year. He definitely, because I've always watched him and I always loved him, but until I actually rode him, he is unbelievable.
Yeah. And what about, like, what does it mean for T-Wade to have let you ride him? Like, it's the end of the season, they're fighting to be first in the world, and your buddy team just says, here you go.
Oh, it means everything. It just shows you how real people are and your close friends, how much help they'll give you to see you do good, and it shows their true colors. He truly wants to see me do good, and he's there to help me with anything, and just shows our friendship, how much he cares. And I mean, it's a blessing to have people in my corner like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good luck. The last final push.
Thank you, ma'am.
It'll be super. Thanks. Last but not least is reigning world champion Tyler Wade to talk about what horse he thinks should be head horse of the year. What is your pick for horse of the year?
Mine.
Everybody said that, so you are not in. I don't think you're out of line to say yours. Like, I think you can say that and mean it.
No, there's a lot of good ones, but I think my horse hadn't been any different than he has in the past couple of years. But with Tanner riding him too, I think it just showed that he was a little more versatile than maybe people thought.
Mm-hmm. Letting Tanner on him, you haven't really lent him out a bunch in his career, but why did you go ahead and let Tanner get on him?
Man, we're buddied and we're buddies, and I want to see those guys win too. So, it wasn't necessarily Tanner's fault that he needed a horse. His horse colicked the day at Logan, Utah, and he rode him and he did good, and then he wasn't confident on the ones he had, so he just asked me to ride him a few more times. And like I said, Patrick let Wesley ride him. So, I mean, sort of buddy team's supposed to be for is just help each other get through the year, saving from horses, travel expenses, everything, and being on the same team. So that, but, that's kind of the whole point of buddying, is to save on fuel and horses and rigs and everything else. So
if you couldn't be on Spur, like if it were round 10 and you had to get on something else, what would you get on and why? Who? And it can be yours or anybody's, just like if you had your pick of any horse in the world.
Honestly, I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of them here lately, so even if mine wasn't as good, I would rather ride mine because I know mine. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which he hasn't rode him hardly anywhere, but obviously like Clint's done, the big dun horse.
Yes.
Transmission. A horse like that, obviously at the NFR and stuff. I think whatever horse fits the setup best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's special about the horse of the year is it shouldn't be a setup related horse. It's the whole year. Whether you go to Cheyenne, Salinas, or the NFR in a tiny building, just a horse that can, you're going to ride and win on every setup. That's the horse of the year.
Yeah. Have you tried to replicate Spur as far as like buying any siblings or anything like that?
No, not necessarily. Like one time, kinda on Facebook.
Oh, remember we found it. I remember this.
Yeah, we found it on Facebook.
Yes.
And it cost like $2,000, and it was like his half sibling. So I was like, hell yeah, let's see. And it was bay. It was a bay mare. And
I remember.
And this girl told me it was 2 or 3 years old, and it was 14.3. And we told her to go to my father-in-law's and just turn it out in the pasture. I didn't even see it. And she told us it was 14.3, and then when we got there, felt like it was 12 hands tall. It was like a Shetland. And I went to break it, and Jesse's like, "What are you doing?"
So him riding this mare.
Yeah, I was there. We had to get like a pony girt and everything, and And I guess that mare's dream came true, because now a buddy of mine, Cody Skinner, owns her, and that's exactly what he's doing, is heading on her, but she is not big enough to head on.
That's so funny. I forgot about that. I remember, I screenshot it and was like, you got to get this horse. It's related to Spur.
Yeah, thanks for that.
I forgot all about that.
But I think I gave like $1,800 for it, and then I paid somebody $750. A buddy of mine, Kyle Brockway, I gave him $750 to ride her for a month, and then he had her dog gentle and ready to go, but she wasn't big enough to go town. I didn't feel her.
Maybe she'll come back for a kid's horse someday.
It actually is a really good horse now, but it is way too small.
That's funny. Oh dear. All right.
A really good kid's horse, I guess you could say.
Hi, I'm Elise Schaefer, and thank you for listening to my mom's podcast, The Score. Thank you to the team at Fastback Ropes for sponsoring today's show.
Thank you for listening to today. We will have the Heel Horse episode coming up later this month, so stand by for that, and we will talk at you next week.